welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. And today we're going to talk about how to stop needing that constant reassurance. And if you're here or have fallen into this podcast or episode, then it's highly likely that you are anxious in your relationship. And this is very specific, but I guarantee if this resonates, it's going to really hit home. So let's say you are with a good person. Right? You're with somebody who you know deep down is actually a wonderful human being. They may not be perfect, not saying that, but you know that they're a good person and things are going great. And then you feel a little vibe shift, and all of a sudden you're like, can you tell me you like me? Do you still love me? And they're like, I just told you an hour ago. And you just feel like that reassurance meter, the clock has been reset. Like the sand in the hourglass has been flipped over, right? And it can be over nothing. It can be because the weekend is over and you're just feeling the vibes of, oh my gosh, our time together is completing. So if that is you, then you're in the right spot. And if you're new here, my name is Claire. I love helping high achievers, high performers you are doing great in your career on paper. You are climbing the corporate ladder. You're getting that C-suite someday. You're a director. You've got people and that you manage. You might have some letters behind your name. You might be an academic, a nerd, love you so much. You also might be somebody who has some letters behind your name. You've got a PhD or some kind of doctorate of something. And while you have all the success out there, you are secretly struggling on the inside, or maybe with your partner verbally, with overthinking, overanalyzing every little thing. You're feeling out the vibes, and if it feels off, you're having a mini meltdown inside or maybe outside. And while all of that is going on, you just want to feel safe and secure in your relationship. And if that is you, then honey, you're in the right spot. This is the podcast. I'm your person for you in this journey. So if you're enjoying this episode or any other episode, hitting the 5 stars, thank you so much for doing it. Seriously, thank you. And if you're like, I've never done that, seriously, I really appreciate it. It takes 5 seconds and it's like a little high five. I'm just here talking to the camera, talking to you in your earbuds, and it means so much. So I was thinking about this as well before we get into the big deal here, where I also just want to say thank you to some of you who added your 2 cents around me maybe thinking about really understanding this ADHD thing in myself. I have kind of known this about me for a long time and had some suspicions. I've never gotten diagnosed. And I really feel I'm at a place where I think I need to talk to somebody or just figure out what's going on, and not from a place where I want to necessarily fix something. Could I optimize things a bit more? Sure. But when I realized why I want to do this is that understanding myself is obviously what I'm about. Like understanding every way that I protect myself, the way that I have built defenses. Masking is something that I've heard with ADHD. And while I believe we all have different ways of masking, that we've been conditioned in whatever environment, benign or malignant, to behave or act a certain way, I do feel that this has been something that I have been masking for a long time. So I just want to say thank you if you've added your 2 cents. It's not just 2 cents, it's like so much to me as I'm going through this process. And I'll be sharing more around this journey. I'm suspecting that maybe some of you have also experienced this as well. So I'm really excited to share more about it on social and finding different ways to share all of that with you. And if you have things to tell me, I would love hearing that. So thanks for just chiming in on that. Also, something so fun around this particular topic, around constant reassurance, is this is something that we're diving into deeply this month inside the Healing Girl Gang. And I love deep diving. I think it's so important, along with whether it's ADHD or anxious attachment. It is so important to go deeper, to do more introspection. It's part of the reason why I do specific topics every single month inside the Healing Girl Gang, where we get the education, we get the why, you get implementation. So it's not just like going and talking about the body. This is like cadaver lab, right? Where I really believe you got to get your hands in it and on it. And This is all things that I do in the Healing Girl Gang. So it's all kind of making sense, all fitting together, my approach, and also why people in the Healing Girl Gang, my one-on-one clients, do so amazing is because it's not just the why, it's the how. And I want to do that a little bit today and really talk about okay, so you're feeling like you want constant reassurance. And I also just want to say this might feel a little, how do I want to say this? This is something that internally you've got it pretty well hidden as well. Meaning, you might really be kind of white knuckling it. You are gritting your teeth and acting like you're cool, but really you're not feeling cool. You are inside, internally, even on the outside, for most of it, you're able to kind of pretend or mask with your partner that you're okay, but deep down you're not okay. So I want to talk about, okay, well, what do we want to look at if we want to stop needing that constant reassurance that maybe we're not even asking for, but we're feeling that we want or need inside. So I want to talk a little bit about what to look for and what are the kind of the deeper pieces here and why you are maybe feeling out the vibe with them or kind of poking at getting some of that reassurance. A lot of that comes from feeling and being like you're in control when you're monitoring the situation, right? So a lot of times monitoring the vibe, checking their temperature, is a way to get control, right? A lot of times we want to feel safe, so we'll vibe check. You will try to check their temperature as much as possible. And if you feel that temperature is off like by 1 degree, you're going to feel that urge to say, are we okay? All right. So part of that is because we have a history, we've been conditioned to check temperature, to monitor, to seek safety and normalcy. So that pattern just doesn't go away when you are 18. We carry that on until we heal it. The other piece that I think is really important to look at is a lot of times we're looking for little clues. I used to joke with Craig around, you put your sandals on, your flip-flops on angry. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, you seriously like coughed so mad and I don't know. And a lot of times we are checking for those minor cues for some kind of confirmation. Are we good? Are you still with me? Do you still like me? Do you still love me? And we're so hypersensitive to those small cues and we're seeking them out. Now, unfortunately, the problem with this is that a lot of times when we're doing this unconsciously, we're actually seeking confirmation bias. And so this is similar to if you look for red Hondas and you go out into the world, guess what you're going to find? Red Hondas. So the irony is that if this is a totally unconscious, or maybe we have some consciousness around it and we don't understand how to navigate like what's happening in that moment, it can push a good person away because then they're like, why are you, I just told you 15 times. And that can, when we are not in an active state of listening to our partner and we're not taking in what they're saying to us, how would you feel if you told somebody 15 times XYZ, let's just say at your work, and they're still not hearing you? How are you going to feel? I say that with so much love because this is something that you can actually shift. And even though we got a lot of conditioning around it, it's like, okay, yeah, you got conditioning to be a track runner. You can also condition to ride a bike. That's also possible too. All right. The next thing around how to stop needing the constant reassurance is part of it is understanding how much having inconsistency from an early age, a lot of that can signal to you that maybe I'm the problem. This is also why this goes so hand in hand with high achievers and high performers, because if you have a setting, let's call it, that says I might be, something is wrong with me, meaning I am not good enough, and I will show you that I'm good enough by getting good grades, by getting on varsity, by getting into school, by getting 17 doors in my investment portfolio of real estate. Like, you will find ways to circumvent the deeper issue that you perceive yourself as being the problem. And so when we start to shape our world and we rely on external validation, that I'll be happy when I get the job or the doctorate, I'll be happy when I get this amount of money. When you rely on external validation, it's not just going to show up in your career, it's going to show up in your relationship. You are going to seek that constant validation and external validation. And I was just thinking how this crosses over. I have a one-on-one client who's amazing. And one thing that she got super clear on was that she is deeply unhappy. She's working as a high level lawyer in government, and she had this real reckoning around, wow, I have been seeking feeling better through all of these things. And here she is realizing that where am I at? Maybe I need to reevaluate why I am so unhappy. And it's showing up. The pain point is in her relationship. And one of the things that I guarantee, so whether it's you're constantly monitoring them for safety, you're picking up these minor cues, or you're getting this inconsistent kind of vibe from them and you think that you're the problem, the best way that you're going to heal that is through your own sense of self-trust, period. And when you trust yourself deeply, you don't care about monitoring the other person. In fact, I shared this on stories, Craig. I'm trying to figure out some details around this event that we're both going to. And Craig said his one word that he said back to me was possibly or probably. And I guarantee you that one word answer, and the reason why he did that is because he's working and when he's at something or fully paying attention, he's in it. And I don't want to distract him from that. He's fully focused. That's fine. But I guarantee you years ago, that would have thrown me absolutely crazy around having some ambiguity because I didn't understand how to feel safe inside myself. All these, like, if you're looking for minor clues and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, like, I don't know, like, I feel like something's different. When you trust yourself, when you feel so safe inside yourself, there can be a clue or not. It actually doesn't really matter because you feel safe inside yourself. And it doesn't really matter if they give you that reassurance for the fifth time or in 5 days, when you actually feel really good about yourself and you know that you have got yourself and you feel safe inside, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And whatever they do give you becomes overflow. And that's what I want for you. I want overflow. I want abundance. And that can come to you. Again, another client of mine, literally two of them have attracted the guy of their dreams, giving them everything and more. And another piece is like, can you allow yourself to fully receive the love they're actually trying to give you? They're really trying to give it to you. Are you even willing to hear it? So that is something that if you are needing that constant reassurance, I want you to look at how much do you trust yourself? How safe do you feel inside yourself? And if there's some gaps there and you are stuck in a loop of getting that external validation, you are so hyper-vigilant on what they're doing, you are constantly monitoring and checking the temperature, that tells me that you want to work on your self-trust. And good news, different ways to work on that, healing Girl Gang or in one-on-one coaching, I got your back. So I've been thinking about different ways that we can connect more. And one thing that I've been doing on my stories that I want to do in the podcast too is giving some insight. I've seen this trend on TikTok, and while I think they're hilarious, and of course Craig thinks he cannot be amused, so he thinks they're okay funny. I think these are hilarious, and the trend is around tell me the weirdest icks you've ever gotten. And these are so funny to me. And I figured that, first of all, who else would enjoy these? Probably you. And if you have a weird ick, please send them to me. I think these are so funny. So this is a trend on TikTok because, I love it there too. And these are hilarious. Every time he snapped me, he did siren eyes and pouting. Okay. Oh my gosh. I just have to crack up at that because if Craig gave me a pout face, oh, no. Another one is he had that white foam in the corner of his mouth. Okay, that is a weird ick, and also, yeah, I could totally relate. He told me he liked my body because it reminded him of his mom. Ick. I don't want to remind you of your mom in any way, shape, or form. I wasn't allowed to use tampons because he considered it cheating. Oh, yikes. He sent me a mirror snap of him flexing. Oh, this is going to be good. And there was absolutely no muscle. It was just a thin arm. And he said, I bet you'll dream about this. Okay. Swear to you, when I was on apps dating, you get stuff like this. If you're dating, you get this. He couldn't clap on beat to songs. That is an ick. He put water on his face to make it look like he was crying after every argument. Ugh. I had a discussion with him why he needs to wash his hands after pooping. Seriously, yeah, those are not good. But if you have a funny ick, I definitely want to hear them. Just had to share those with you. Goes. If I had to tell you about your personal hygiene, that is actually one thing that is super great about Craig is that he is hygienic to a fault. I feel sometimes hygienic to a fault, but he reports to me every time he goes to a public bathroom. He'll tell me exactly who did not wash their hands, and y'all, it is not good. A lot of guys don't wash their hands after they go to the bathroom. It's pretty sick. Okay. Next piece here is around the Healing Girl Gang, and I answer questions in the Healing Girl Gang on the podcast. Super exciting. So, and again, if you've never heard about the Healing Girl Gang, there's a link below. We talk about monthly topics about anxious attachment. So this month, I believe, is around how do we stop needing constant reassurance, the actual how-to. We're going into that. But let's answer a question. So Savannah, she says, though my current partner and I's backstory begins around 4 years ago, we recently just made it official. Congratulations. However, going further and further into the relationship, it's possible he may be an anxious avoidant, as he came clean to me recently that feeling of neutral about my acts of affection and kindness, as well as feeling troubled as far as expressing his emotions. Also, that's literally most men. Admittedly, this triggered some very intense anxiety of losing him. My question is, how can I simultaneously heal my anxious attachment style? You're in the Healing Girl Gang. Step 1. Support my partner in efforts not to push him away and recognize what's too much or too little as far as efforts in the relationship. Okay. This is giving me a vibe around somebody is too much or too little. And should I stay in this? So this is like classic, what I would call anxious attachment self-sabotage, is that we look at them around, are they giving me too much or too little? And and that to me is a distraction. Instead of focusing on what you can control, which is, and actually I wouldn't even say you're not in control of them. You're not in control of them. You're in charge of yourself, period. So when we are distracted with, oh, they're doing too much or too little, I love you enough to say that nobody's perfect. That's just the reality. So if you're looking at like what's too much or too little, a lot of times it's because we're expecting perfection from themselves and also from them and also ourselves. So that is going to be a disappointment no matter what, because nobody's perfect, lovingly including yourself. So when we are looking at what he's expressing to you, I also kind of mentioned this when I was reading out the question, but this is not uncommon. The way that our society is built, the way that our culture is built, is we don't give men an opportunity to express their feelings. This is the problem with patriarchy. Hate to say that word, guys, but it's just true. When we live in a society that is built on white supremacy, patriarchy, and capitalism, nobody has time for feelings. No, and especially even men. Women don't have time, space for feelings, but especially the men don't either. So it doesn't work for anybody. And we have conditioned men and little boys to not express their feelings. This is not an excuse or a justification. It's just what is when we live in these systems. So one thing that's going to help you also, and looking at this, is when we try to protect ourselves, we ultimately reject. We reject them, we reject ourselves, and protection is rejection. And that's a key thing in understanding how your subconscious works. And when you are understanding that, okay, well, they're just not going to meet my need. And while that there might be some truth to that, there are multiple things that can be true at once. Can somebody have gaps and imperfections and also be really a good fit for us? Absolutely. And I will also tell you, is there somebody else that can do better? Possibly, probably. But there's billions of people out there in the world. Of course, there's people that are going to match you in a different way. And you have to get really clean and clear and grounded in yourself around the person that you're with, because nobody's going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. That just does not exist. All right. You have to get really clear and grounded in yourself around, what do I have around somebody being perfect? Because that's really just a reflection and an invitation to look internally. What is your relationship with perfectionism? What is your relationship with I'm too much or I'm not doing enough? So I would start looking there, and that's going to give you a good indicator. And in the Healing Girl Gang, as you know, that we're doing deep dive trainings, there's opportunities for you to get more personalized coaching when you come to the calls, and we can explore it there too. So be gentle with yourself. Really, the only answer and the only person that's going to have the answer is you internally when you check in with yourself. And I'm thinking of you. All right, y'all, be gentle. Mwah.